Hey there, honor students. Welcome to week 6 of our extended online e-learning time together. Today and tomorrow, we're going to be focusing on a reading workshop, which is a little bit different from a writing workshop. So when we do a reading workshop, I just want to clarify that reading workshops tend to be a little bit longer when it comes to the mini lesson. So as you're watching this video today, I want you to understand that the mini lesson is intended to be slightly longer. So we're going to spend 15 to 20 minutes in our mini lesson, and then we're going to spend 20 to 30 minutes in our independent reading time, and then of course 3 to 5 minutes in that share time. So it follows a very similar structure to a writing workshop, but it is slightly different in the length of time that we're spending within the concepts and really unpacking the reading strategy that we're going to focus on. So for this week, we're really going to start to dive into central ideas, supporting details. We're getting into mood and tone, and this is really going to set the stage for the remainder of Unit 4. So I hope that you guys find this lesson super helpful as we dive in to Unit 4. So the first thing that I want to do is talk to you guys about nonfiction text. So when we dive into a nonfiction text, if I am trying to figure out what that article is about, what do you think I am looking for? So I'm looking for the main idea or the central idea of a text. So it's what the author is setting out to prove within the text. So what I want to do now is do a little preview with you guys as I take you through the Scope magazine that we're going to be using for our independent reading time today. So let's pop over to Scope. So thinking about the idea of central ideas and main ideas, because I use those terms interchangeably, I want us to go ahead and take a look at this first nonfiction article. So I'm just going to kind of scroll through here. So it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it looks like 5 pages. So if I were looking at this text, and this was going to be the text that I was going to read, because it has 5 pages of text, how many main ideas do you guys think would show up within this text? Your answer is probably going to be more than one. So we're going to have more than one main or central idea within a text that's up to 5 pages long. So let's keep scrolling. This next article is called Swimming for Her Life, and it is, I'm just going to preview the pages here, 1, 2, 3 pages long. So how many central ideas do you think would show up within this text? You're right, probably more than one because of the length of the text. Let's keep scrolling. This article, Can Fame and Fortune Make You Happy? It's 1 page long. So, well, 1 and a whole quarter of a page here or 1/3 of a page here. So how many main ideas do you think would show up in this particular essay? Because it's a little shorter, you're probably only going to have one main idea. So if we stop to think about that, idea, thinking about the length of a text is really going to help us understand how many central or main ideas we're going to be looking for. So we're going to go back to the article Swimming for Her Life, and that's going to be the paired text that we're going to focus on today. If you noticed at the end of the text, there's also a poem. So those are going to be the 2 texts that we're using in our reading workshop today. So we said that there's going to be more than one central or main idea within the text. So as you're reading, I want you guys to think about what is the central idea of each section of the text. So what is the author setting out to prove within those sections? And then how does the author demonstrate or exemplify that central or main idea through the supporting details of the text? So before we dive in, I actually want to have you guys watch a little video about some 5th graders and how they were able to identify central ideas and supporting details within a text that they were reading.
How many main ideas do you think there were in this piece, Nicole?
Just one.
How many of you agree with Nicole? Just show me hands. How many of you agree with Nicole? Okay, Nicole, I'm going to come back. What do you think the main idea is?
About how dolphins keep sponges on their nose when they're hunting for food to protect them.
So I think that's a detail, but what's I think there's a bigger main idea. That's going to be a really good detail to support our main idea. But I think there's a different main idea. Seamus, what do you think it is?
Those dolphins are really smart.
They are really smart. I agree. They're smart when it comes to what? What's this article about? They're smart about what?
Using tools. Looking for food.
How many of you would agree with that? They're smart about finding their food and how they get their food. Okay, Nicole, what's one support for that?
The sponges that they put on their nose.
They put sponges on their nose. What's another support for they're smart about how they get their food? Ellie?
Well, they put sponges on their nose, and there's an example of why they do that. They do that to keep the sand from scratching their
So that's pretty smart that not only do they put the sponge on the nose, the reason for it is to protect their nose. Another reason they're smart about getting their food. Ian.
mothers actually teach them how to use the tool.
Because they've learned it from their mother. So learning from mom is a pretty smart thing.
And then it's also to protect them from stingrays that live in the sand.
Do you guys remember that part? It protects them from the stingrays that might be startled and just quickly bite them and not mean to, but it would hurt. Very smart animals, I think. Very smart when it comes to food. So I do agree, Nicole, back to you in the very beginning. It is just one main idea. How smart they are when it comes to getting food.
So taking a look at these fifth graders, you were able to see how they were able to really narrow down their focus to one central or main idea for their article. Now, granted, their article was only 1 page long, which is why they only had one main idea. And then from that main idea, they were able to pull out supporting details that went along with that main idea. Let's go ahead and try that same thing within our own article called Swimming for Her Life. We're going to go ahead and work through that first section only, and I want you guys thinking about the topics that are showing up in the first section, and then what are some supporting details that we could use to support that central idea. And so central ideas and supporting details are going to show up in your follow-up quiz. So that's why we're going to practice a little bit together, and then you guys are going to have some independent work time. Okay, so I've returned to the text and we're going to go ahead and start reading, and then we're going to try to do our best to identify the central idea and some supporting details for the first section called A War Zone. So I'm going to start up here at the top. Yusra Mardini, 18, was neck and neck with 4 of the world's best swimmers. As she powered through the water, the crowd cheered wildly. Suddenly, she pulled ahead. It was the last leg of the race, and victory seemed near. This was the dramatic scene playing out last August at the 2016 Summer Olympics in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. For athletes competing in the Olympics, the most prestigious sporting event in the world, it's the culmination of years of hard work and sacrifice. For Yusra, competing in the Olympics was even more than that. Yusra is a refugee, and she had overcome extraordinary hardships to be at the Games. Only a year earlier, while her competitors were spending hours and hours training every day, Yusra was not training at all. She was fleeing for her life. So as we dive into the section called A War Zone, I want you guys to think, if this war zone is just a simple 3 or 4 paragraphs, how many central ideas do you think we're going to find? We're probably going to be looking for one central idea. We can use the title of the section as a good indicator for what might be the topic of that section, and then we have to come up with that central idea, and then we'll dive back into some supporting details. A war zone. Yusra grew up in Damascus, Syria. From a young age, she and her older sister Sarah showed incredible talent in the pool. Both sisters dreamed of swimming in the Olympics one day. Their futures seemed bright. Then when Yusra was 13, civil war broke out. The conflict, which continues to this day, has created one of the worst humanitarian crises in recent history. Hundreds of thousands have died. Entire neighborhoods have been bombed to rubble. In some parts of Syria, food and medicine have become dangerously scarce. Yusra and Sarah's home was destroyed in 2012. So was the swimming facility where they trained. Their neighborhood became a war zone, and the sisters' dreams for the future, like the dreams of so many Syrians, vanished. That is, until the summer of 2015, when Yusra and Sarah decided to flee. So if we look at just this section of the text, I'm thinking that there are some various topics. So we have this topic of war, we have this topic of crisis, we have this topic of, kind of dreams being shattered. So if I were to think about the central idea of this section, I might think that civil war shatters hopes and dreams of young people. And then when I think about that central idea, I would go back and I could use, for example, Yusra and Sarah's home was destroyed in 2012. That would be a really good supporting detail because it uses a date. I have that fact and that statistic to back up my central idea. We could also use that when Yusra was 13, civil war broke out, because that would also be using a number or a fact or a statistic to support our central idea. So I hope that really helps you guys wrap your heads around how to find a central idea and some supporting details within the text. So as you continue to read during your independent reading time, be thinking about that process that I just modeled for you. You're also going to want to think about mood and tone. And I've attached another video to this mini lesson that breaks down the definitions of mood and tone. So you'll want to explore those before you continue your reading as well. So thinking about mood and tone. And then at the end of your independent reading time, you're going to be taking up a follow-up. You're going to take a follow-up quiz that's going to be asking you about central ideas and supporting details within the text in different sections. And then it's also going to be asking you about the mood and tone. The last thing that I want to point out is that there is a paired text that you will want to read along with this. So when you get to the end of this text, you're going to want to read this poem as well. So the follow-up quiz that you're going to be taking is not just central ideas and details, mood and tone within the nonfiction text, but it's also how those ideas can be related to this poem or this fictional text. So thinking about those 4 concepts as you're making your way through the reading today. I hope that was helpful in getting you guys started. Enjoy the independent reading time, and I look forward to your results and to working with you later this week on doing your own writing over these 2 texts. Have a great day.